And welcome on in, everybody. It's your Frogman here, King Papa II, bringing you some more Brown Dust 2 content. I know it seems like it has been a while because, I don't know, it feels like it to me. But anyway, welcome on in. This is the live stream that they just had several hours ago. I was asleep, though, sadly, because I stayed up very, very late last night in my Twitch Discord VC. We're having a community night. Had a lot of fun with it, by the way. But yeah, so I didn't wake up early enough because it was like 5 a.m. when this was streamed, right? So UTC time, guys. Okay, so before I hop into the video, though, and the latest news, which I'm very excited to address and talk about with you guys, like, subscribe if you enjoy the content, if you want more of it, and what you would like to see more of me doing with content like this, with updating. I would love to know and get your feedback on it. But more importantly, I would love to hear your thoughts on it in the comments below, what you think about the video or the live stream, the information, the updates that they have, discussed and everything like that. I would love to hear your feedback on it because there were some things, that I watched and heard because I already watched everything. I'm just going to cover the key points. I even made, a list and timestamped them so that it's a little easier for me and it'll be a little bit more quicker this time around to address, where, everything is in the video. Just so that it's not too long, because I'm not sure if my videos are too long or too short. But I wanted to, try something different with this video. But anyway, but yeah, so follow me on my socials, and let's get to it, right? Okay, so I'm gonna start off by first off addressing the lovely tour that they had. Honestly, I wish I was a part of it in New York. The amount of merch I would have bought, and also the free merch that they gave out. Damn, I missed out on it. I missed out on it. I couldn't get there, man. I just couldn't get there. I know. It sucks. But shout out to the cosplayers, honestly. Lovely job on their outfits. Looking sexy and obviously pulling it off. Love it. Respect to the cosplayers out there. Shout out to you guys. You lovely ladies are doing a killer job with it. Okay? Now, we're going to head into the content with first off, let's hop to it. We're going to just hop straight into it. Okay? So here we have it, guys. I'm going to talk about it, do a little bit of addressing with the new season events. But before I get into this, let me just say this, because I just want to make sure that this is something that no one gets confused about. Okay, so in case you're a new player and you're just finding my channel out now, or if you're, you don't know anything about these two, I'm gonna just say a little bit of it, not to spoil it for you, because their stories are actually in the main game. You can actually read them and enjoy them for yourselves because they're permanently unlocked now. So they're gonna be at the home screen. You'll be able to easily find them at the bottom screen. It has like story and packs. You click on that and it'll take you to the packs that they're mentioned in. So you have Sonia and Darian here, right? Darian is on the right and Sonia is on the left. The story, without giving too much away, so I don't spoil it for anybody that doesn't know or wants to find out themselves, is Darian is the older sister of Blade, okay? And Sonia is actually the friend of Rue and Ember. So that's all I'm going to say about them. So, very good stories, by the way. I actually enjoyed those stories a lot, okay? You'll find Darian in Blade's story, and you'll find Sonia, well, in her own story. You'll see them. It's very easy to pick them out on the the little thumbnail that they have for them. Okay, but yeah. So that's a little bit about them, and I would honestly do those story packs first before doing the Stigma of Dreams. If you want to do this in order, just do Blade's story first, and then do Sonia's, and then do the Stigma of Dreams. Okay, that's the order that it goes in. Okay, so just in case you guys want to know what order it is, that's how it is. Okay. For most of this, I'm not gonna do a lot of talking. I'm just gonna let it kind of show everything right here and showcase it for you guys. Okay, guys. I'll say something a little ahead for something that Gami addresses, just so you guys are, you guys don't get confused or something like that or take it out of context. I'll say it, but when it comes, okay. But let's have them give it a listen, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see two characters. Now there are new realms, new faces. Sonya leaves the Kaketas facility with Darien heading to Mother's Arm, and she arrives in a dreamy hall with 12 chairs reserved for Mother's daughters called reveries. So these are 12 chairs, and as you know, Sonya gets one of the chairs, but I don't think that everyone's thrilled she's there because some might feel that she is unqualified. So they test her, and now we'll have to see whether she clears the trials and gets accepted as one of the reveresses.
Oh wow.
Nice.
So look what wait, but their hands are at
Look at the
pretty
hands.
inappropriate places.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say, I wanted to make it clear that it didn't really touch anything. So, yeah, you can see that it is not touching anything. It's Darien and Sonya.
Okay, so this is the part I wanted to address just in case anybody, got upset or something. Sonya is not touching Darian's right breast, okay? In case anybody is wondering about this, she's just holding up her hand, okay? I know it might look like it, but just trust the devs on this, okay? Um, there's nothing inappropriate going on here. Darian is supposed to be basically a big sister figure to Sonya, and they even address this, so just so you guys know this, she's supposed to be that big sister figure, okay? And that's how Sonya sees her as, because, like I said, do the story, you'll understand. But yeah, okay?
So, it's a super symbolic scene for the event. Sigma of Dreams happened in a space that's totally different from before. So, guys, stay tuned. Also, meet the new fiend for our new season event. It's Frenzied Wolf. Now, it's a water type fiend, stacks DOT, and gets stronger the more it's hit.
All right. Now here are the characters appearing in the season event. So this is an epic part. Go ahead. Let's introduce
Okay.
them.
Yeah, we can feel the dopamine hit. Oh, look, there's Sonya.
I think this motion is new to everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, finally Sonya is here. A lot of fans who love cute characters have been asking about Sonya. She's a girl with split personalities. Shadow Dream Sonya will join as a new character. Sonya is a dark element magic debuffer. Her skills are unique. They trigger in 2 different forms.
Yeah, she really turned out gorgeous, and since she is a popular character, I think that many of you might have guessed she'd go playable. She has a fragile look, but split personality, and I think it needed a design that sells both without feeling off. And so we have to think about 2 different personalities, even though it's one character. You can see that moonlight shadow behind her, and this is definitely the point, and it slaps in skill cutscenes and special shots. And I think that it's quite interesting and unique, so you can see the fun part of it. But whenever there are new female characters, people ask for sexy voices, but there is not going to be any sexy voice for Sonya this time.
Yes. Let's
It's just
please
going to be-
protect
yeah,
Sonya.
very clean.
Okay, so you heard that, right? So, what happens is basically referring to what happened with Rafithia when she was released. Because I remember hearing about this. It wasn't something that, I don't think a lot of people know about. So here's the thing. When it comes to Brown Dust 2, obviously a lot of us, we see, obviously the hotter, older women in the game, right? Very sexy, very, seductive with their voices and stuff like that, right? Not a bad thing, by the way. But they have to be careful with a lot of the younger characters in the game now, which is totally understandable, by the way. I totally get it. I understand that, because obviously, they know where a line is drawn, and they know this. Okay, they do. They do. They're not dumb. Okay, they know where the line is drawn. Okay, so other than that, that's why they were saying, don't think anything wrong about this, because out of all the skill cutscenes that you're about to see here, hers is going to obviously be the more, tame one. So Just so you guys know this, okay? I just wanted to address that just in case, because there are people out there that get the wrong idea because they look at the game, right, and then they like think that this is with every single character. No, it's not, because they actually weren't initially going to do any more like younger type character designs, or not designs, but like playable characters, because they were going more with the the content that was made for like 18 plus at this point, right? So that's why this is important for you guys to know this, okay? That you're not going to see any of this. However, the thing with Sonya is she actually plays an important role in this game now, right? And in the main story. So, in a lot of ways, seeing her in the main story now isn't actually a surprise. What I was surprised about, however, was how soon they dropped them, because I didn't expect them to be dropped this early on. In fact, I thought that Darian, I mean, and Sony were going to be dropped next year when they started season 4 story. However, when I thought about it, I was like, it makes sense now, because right now they're most likely going to be hyping us up or getting us ready for when they're finally introduced into the main story. And it made a lot of sense thinking of it that way. So I think this is actually a good move on their end to introduce them now, right? Away from like the main story for the moment, until then they're put into season 4. So I think this is a good move on their part. Honestly, I do believe it is. But yeah, enjoy the rest of it. They're going to be also talking about, obviously you already heard that Sonya is going to be a debuffer, and they're going to be talking a little bit about the other characters and their skills a little bit, but they're not going to like do an entire like showcasing of it, just so you guys know this, until the actual release. Okay, so just be patient, you'll be able to see it soon. Okay, and I'll obviously have a video on it too, but here we go.
All right, then let's move on to the next one. Finally, Darian is here. Very sleek. Yes, she showed up in Blade's story and caught a lot of people's attention. Prophetic Dream Darian is joining as a brand new character. She's a water element damage dealer. She can hit a wide area, but also deals massive damage to her main target.
So as you can see, the concept was a single clean kick idea. Simple, but it hits. So I really like this kind of concept. You can see that it looks pure and elegant, but moves bold. And I think that it was really effective. This is quite one of the unique features. And I thought that it should be really clean and pure, but you can see that there are like bold moves. So you can see that she looks okay, but you can see that there is a bit of a nervousness, something that is kind of off, but not really.
I'm not sure if you guys noticed this too with her standing pose as well. And I'm not sure anybody else noticed it in the live chat for YouTube, because I kept it open just to see, or to read what other people had to say about a lot of it, just to get the idea of like how people feel about this update as well. But if you look closely right here, right, just pay attention to her chest. Okay, I'm just saying this for Daria now, right? Just pay attention here, okay? I'm going to slow-mo it, or do this slowly. So if you look very carefully, right, you see how you see how it shows some tit there? Yes. I'm not sure if anybody noticed this, but I noticed it right away. You do see it like come through her shirt, or her top, I should say. Very nice detail, by the way, considering how she is, and you're about to see this. So this is why I'm saying it now. And I love the design overall with Darian. I was always wondering what her sword was going to be based off of, because right, I'm not going to say the rest because that spoils it a little bit for the story, but I was very curious about her sword. But I'm loving the design, and to hear that she's also more or less like how young Lady Blade is in the story with her attack. She has an AoE but focuses on the main target. That in a lot of ways for me is nice to hear, because I was really, really hoping that Darian was going to be just as strong, or if not stronger, than Blade. Don't get me wrong, I love my girl Blade, but like, Darian was one of those, was one of the fighters that was like, she was really strong, right? So I'm really happy, and obviously that sword design is really clean. I love it. What do you guys think about it?
but you can see that there are like bold moves. So you can see that she looks okay, but you can see that there is a bit of a nervousness, something that is kind of off, but not really.
So you
What do you
say
mean?
something a lot,
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
somethings.
Yeah, yeah,
So something, something, something going
yeah.
on.
I think that you already know. So yeah, she looks elegant, but not really. So you can see this big sis who kind of comforts you, but you're like, wait, why am I so nervous? So there is that kind of vibe.
So when she lifts the sword, that something comes out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, something.
Yes. Something's moving, something's coming out, something's going
Yeah,
on
you
there.
can see
Yes.
something out of
But
it.
we can't really go into that something in more detail.
Yeah,
so let's
so,
quickly move on
yeah.
to the next one.
I know, and I have her as my PNG. So, in case anybody was wondering, like, who's that PNG? This is her, Starlight Guardian tier. So, very excited, and I know a lot of you are about to go gooner crazy for it when you see the skill cutscenes, especially with Darien as well. But very excited to see new faces here, and I love the weapon too. You can see that it is actually a spear. You know, it's not a sword or a katana or anything like that, right? It's a spear. So very very happy to see a little bit of a different weapon and for quite a while now. So big W for this update, guys. I'm very excited, but yeah, I'm gonna let them talk though. But let me know how you think of her design. I love it.
Wow, that's a new face. She looks very comfy and cushy, right? Yes, a mysterious character with a bright, sunny smile. Starlight Guardian Tyr is joining the roster. Tyr is a wind element physical dealer. She comes with a debuff that increases SP cost, but in exchange, she unleashes powerful wide
Look at
area
the
attacks.
chat. So many people.
Well, we
are
were getting
participating in
riled
the chat.
up.
Oh yeah, everybody in chat for that live stream on YouTube was going crazy for hers. Um, Now, I'm not going to pull up a lot of what they said, though, or I'm actually not going to pull it up. That's why I normally just talk with you guys about it. But yeah, they were going absolutely crazy for it, along with Darian's, too. But when they dropped here, right, it was like, whoa. Like, you know what I mean? Because I'm not sure if many people know this, but there was, and I remember some comments being said over on Reddit was like, when are we gonna get more like thicker characters in the game, like Eclipse, right? For example, and curvier, like more like I don't know. Okay, so for me personally, I felt like there were already a lot of curvier and thick waifus in the game, but I don't know what they were meaning by it. In all honesty, maybe they meant a little bit more on the I don't know. They addressed it in here as like more of the chubbier side, but honestly, I don't see Tyr as like that. I see her as more like, yeah, she's thick, but that's not because she's like fat or anything, you know? She's just naturally thick. So, but yeah, there was a lot of I remember reading comments on Reddit about that. So maybe they did read the Reddit comments and they designed Starlight Guardian Tyr now, right? But who knows? That's what I was thinking about though.
Yeah, you can see that this premium plush body, thick in the best way. Just want to dive in. She has that kind of body, richness. So we really wanted to serve those folks who have or who like heavier builds too. And we've had some curvy characters before, but this time we leaned in for sure. We have put in more details. You can see that she has a very cute face, and it fills in the story and the dialogue, so I'm super hyped.
Something is,
Overflowing.
yes,
You actually
looks
wanna
very
go,
cushy.
yeah,
You
yeah,
really just want to dive in, you know.
That's right.
She looks so comfy.
Yeah, she's like a cushion.
We can even turn her into a cushion.
Yeah, maybe. Or like a beanbag. So that's where we're heading. I think that we're getting a lot of feedback, great feedback from our fans.
They're talking about merch, by the way, just so you know that. So like pillows, like Wilhelmina's pillow, which honestly I'm gonna buy sometime in the future with their shop. But yeah, they're talking about merchandise right now.
Because if you look at these blend characters, they don't
Yeah.
really get a lot of good feedback. I think that our fans are asking for more.
Yes, yes, but something's coming up later, so stay tuned.
Okay.
All right, let's move to next. All right, please. So remember the golden arena background we showed earlier in the season event? She's the master of that place. Her name is Greta, a golden warrior with the title Dream of Desire. She won't be a playable character this time though.
Okay, now I know that there are tons of muscle mommy enjoyers, but variety matters. I think that's what I'm here for. But she's not like a full bodybuilder. I kept a feminine form, but I added muscle and volume tastefully. If your tastes aren't developed yet as a developer, maybe today's the day, might be the day for you. So I'm very curious for your feedback because it's not something that you see every day.
I personally love the designs that they're going with. A lot of variety here. You heard him say it. So, like, in my honest opinion, and anybody that wants to talk about this too, more than welcome to in the comments. I would love to read them about those. What you guys think about a different variety being added. So, me personally, now this is just my personal taste. Okay, I love seeing more curvier, more busty women. So obviously, what we have so far as well, and along with tier now, correct. Honestly, I don't mind, you know, um, you know, female characters in games having some muscle, but for me personally, now this is just like I said personally, I don't think they should be too shredded. I think it kind of like, for me at least, it doesn't do it for me. Like the way they did Greta, however, Gami did, he did it perfectly. Like she's firm. I can still see her curves, right? I can still see she's very well built. You know what I mean? In a lot of areas. So I love her design a ton. Can't wait for her to be a playable character down the line, right? Obviously, her attire, gives her that sexy vibe, but also you can see that she's rocking the armor. So it does insinuate that she is someone that's not going to mess around. Like she's somebody that's, you mess with her, it seems like she's going to like knock you the hell out, right? So, I love the overall look for her. Plus, the horns on her actually was a great addition to this. So it also, for me personally, though, shows that she has, she's not gonna take shit type of, you know what I'm saying? Like she's not gonna take nobody's shit type of role. Like she's out there to beat some ass, but she actually looks still incredible nonetheless, right? But yeah, but personal preference wise, what do you guys think? How do you guys feel? What do you guys who do you guys like to see more of? You know, I'm glad that they do variety because I'm all for variety with everything too as well. I don't like to just have to see something that's only catered to one particular audience. It's nice to branch out and be very creative with the looks of characters. So I do agree with that. But yeah, but for now, guys, she is going to be an NPC, but do not worry about that because I promise you she is going to be a character later down the line as well. That's going to be unlocked because we just saw Sonia and Darian, right? They were NPCs before, but now they're going to be playable. So you see this kind of like reference, and to any new players out there, that's usually how it goes. This is actually a normal thing in the game. You just got to wait a little bit, just take some time to wait. I didn't actually see that or not see, but I didn't feel that Sonia and Darian were actually, it didn't take that long for them to be released. It took less than what? It took less than half a year actually, in fact. Because and that's actually impressive considering the time roll, with it in between. It wasn't that long. It wasn't that long actually. So, I would say Greta more or less she might be the same way. She might be the same time span or maybe a little less, depending on where the main story goes starting off, right? And how far they get into it. But yeah, so very excited to see her. Very much looking forward to pulling for her as well later down the line. But right now, we're going to be seeing Sonia, Darian, and Tyr. Okay, so they're going to be the ones that are going to be pulled for on starting September 11th. Okay, guys? So it gives you some time to think, you know? But yeah, very well done design. I love it.
So earlier we saw Tyr, right? She's a complete opposite of Tyr. So the complete opposite feeling. She's very charismatic. She's like a warrior, unlike Tyr.
Yeah. I think that it's going to be feeding the taste of a lot of her fans because they have various tastes, you know. Yeah, you can see the chat. I guess that.
Okay, so I'm just gonna skip ahead because they're just gonna reiterate what I basically said to you guys. But yeah, chat actually in the live stream chat too as well. Were very very into Greta's design, and they were wanting her to be released then and there too. Like I get it, but you know, be patient, be patient. She is gonna be released. I can guarantee you that she is gonna be released. Okay, so skill cutscenes. Okay, so we're gonna see some. We're gonna see the skill cutscenes. Okay, two of them obviously are the ones that are the spicy ones. Then you have Sonia's, which is not understandable, like I said. So I hope you guys enjoy them, nonetheless. But yeah, Darian's and Tears were like, whoa. As always, Gami knows how to deliver with his team there. So let's check it out. Okay.
You can just have a light watch. Oh, you can see that there's numbers, right?
Yes, the numbers are definitely hinting at something.
뭔가 약간 좀 초반에는 불안해 보였는데 딱 바뀌니까 이제 좀 섬찟한.
Yeah.
So her face is cute, but the vibe is a little bit different here, right?
소녀인가요?
Right.
아니면은
So is it Sonia that you're talking about or Tanya?
귀여운데 분위기는 그렇지 않아?
You know,
Right,
the vibe.
it's like Tanya as well, like completely opposite vibe.
착한 느낌으로.
Yeah. Well, actually, I wanted to be a bit unsettling.
뭔가 분위기를
We wanted to start from a very calm start, but then a sudden spike in mood was my attention. And since Tanya kept showing as a shadow, I wanted a clean Tanya shows through Sonya shot.
그래서 그런지
Maybe that's the reason why, but I do love that you can read two characters on Sonya's face.
아, 네. 저는 약간 좀 이펙트가 겹쳐가지고 약간 이클립스
I think
머릿결 같은 표현인 건가라고 보고
I
있었는데
thought it was
그건
something from like Eclipse, right? Like the hair,
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
because like of the
Similar
overlapping
effect.
본인 번호를 저기다가
So
Okay.
she wrote her number on her body parts
Yeah,
or
yeah, I think
something.
it's hidden somewhere. Oh, look at the chat.
Wow,
Everybody's
chat's blowing
super-
up.
Yeah, chat went absolutely hysterical in a good way, but they were going like they were going crazy, right? So yeah, this is Darian's first skill cutscene among many that will be seen in the future because I guarantee you they're gonna make another costume for Darian. If not, an alternate universe. I know she's gonna have one. This is just guaranteed in my eyes, especially for summer. I know she's gonna blow up when she's released. But yeah, so this is the lovely and sexy Darian's skill cutscene. And obviously, we see the numbers. They play a huge role in the main story. Like he was saying, you saw it on Sonia's palm. You see it on Darian's right breast, right? And then you're going to see it with Tyr now, okay? But yeah, very well done. I love it a lot. I'm very much looking forward to unlocking her too because I want to place her like near Blade, basically, you know? The two sisters. So let's see.
Oh, chat's
Excited.
blowing up.
보면 비레미나랑 비슷한
In a way, I think it's similar to Wilhelmia, that blonde and uniform style, but Darian's elegance, that mysterious charm, it definitely stands out.
Yeah, it does. Well, she's beautiful, as you know, and shamelessly honest about her desire. So it's just pure Darien.
해야 될까요? 아니면
Or I guess that's more like Brown Dust too.
우리 게임에 아주 훌륭한
She's
인재로
grown into an absolute star of her game. So I can't wait to see which concept she goes with next.
날뛸지.
I just want to see how crazy it can go.
네, 저는 딱 보자마자 아 이거
The
뭔가
moment that I saw this,
그 레전드를 갱신할 수 있지 않을까?
I think it can definitely set the record.
갱신하려고
You know, set the record and become maybe like the next best after Wilhelmia.
Maybe she could be legendary.
뭔가 표현하는 것도
It's like Wilhelmina got competition. I don't know. Does Wilhelmina, our queen there, have competition now with Darian here? You don't know, right? You never know. But honestly, I love Wilhelmina's design as well. But Darian's design too is just as gorgeous too as well. You know what I mean? I love them both. But you know, there's always gonna be now, you know, Darian or Wilhelmina now, right? Depends on where they go now with Darian, right? But I love it a lot. But I don't know. It's just like, saying, there's going to be some competition here, right?
And writing the number on her breast, I think that's pretty unique.
Yeah,
And,
that is a
and
bit
new,
new.
right? Innovative, creative.
Yeah, it does show our value.
그렇게 네.
And I think that it is quite new and fresh. Well, in most cases, they have like a grand opening, but for us, you can see that there is just one way that we're heading. We're just going to be putting the numbers on our breast.
그러면 마지막 하나 남았죠?
All right, we have
그레타는 이제
one more,
NPC 니까
right?
Mm-hmm.
Greta is NPC, so we don't have anything for Greta, but we have Tyr.
자신을
So let's watch Tyr's skill cutscene.
Oh, wow.
네. 아니 이게
Oh, wow.
앞에서
Yeah. Yeah, right? Yeah. I know, right? I know. I was like, damn, dude. And yeah, like I said, live stream chat was going crazy. Darian, and then they pulled out Tyr, right? Wow. Astonishing. Very, very well done. The thing is, to unlock this wallpaper, by the way, you only have to unlock them one time. That's it. You unlock them one time, and you unlock their skill cutscene or their for their wallpaper, basically, for your home screen. So just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. But yep, if we go back here, right? I mean, if you guys want to take it in, you want a screenshot of this, there you go. But yeah, this is obviously going to be a choice for the wallpaper. I would be very shocked if they didn't have this as a choice, because the thing is, they give you choices now, like what angle you want to have as your wallpaper from the skill cutscene. Like they did this like way back, by the way. But I'm just saying, for any new players that don't know this, it is a mechanic in the game where you can do this. So obviously, I know for a fact everyone's gonna pick this one for Tyr, okay, including myself. But beautiful, right? I'm telling you, they still cooking, man. Even though it's after summer, they still cooking, man. They still cooking.
Oh, wow.
네. 아니 이게
Oh, wow.
앞에서 레전드
I
갱신했다고
know.
했는데
I thought we were already at the highest level with Darian, but definitely not, I guess.
Yeah.
한 번만 더
Well,
보여주시겠어요?
during the rehearsal.
Well,
Maybe
anyway,
watch
can
the-
somebody replay this one more time
Okay.
for everyone? Can we replay this?
가능한가요? 아, 네.
Oh, yeah. You can see the video once again.
잠깐만 여기서 홀드.
Okay, so can you please pause here? Or do we have to go to the
No,
next scene?
we
Well, obviously they can't pause here. They'll talk a little bit about it, but yeah, obviously very beautiful. So like we have Sonia's, right? So Sonia, she is 11 out of the 12 seats. Darian, she is
Oh, look at the chat.
Darian is the 7th of the 12 seats. And then let's see. Tyr is, I'm trying to see where we can find it. I think it's on her butt. Let me see if it's on her butt. I actually didn't notice this. I know. I got lost in her cake here. There it is. Oh, that's a nice shot, right? Let me see. Tyr. Actually, I don't see it on her. Maybe it'll be revealed later then, someplace else on her. I thought it was actually on her butt. I wasn't looking, for the actual Roman numeral symbol. But hey, okay, can you blame me? I mean, that's a lot of cake on the screen. It's hard not to miss. Okay, and then we also have Rafina's. They actually made one for Rafina, who's an old 5-star, but they are still adding the old 5-star skill cutscenes slowly but surely. Gami even covers this, but this is Rafina's one right here if you want to look at it.
Yeah, it's going to be explosive.
네, 하나 더 보여주시죠.
But apparently there's one more prepared.
이 반바지와 망상.
Oh, so can you see her shorts
네.
and her mesh ties?
Okay, so this is Rafina's one of her costume choices. This was actually the one that was in, I think it was Beauty Impossible. I believe that was the character pack. It was with Shada and Elise when they went undercover as spies. This is Rafina's. So they, like I said, they did say that they were gonna go back in the game a lot of the times to add skill cutscenes that were never added to past 5 stars. They're still gonna do this, so expect more to see. I think the last one they released was Elise's, right? So and also she came with her own interaction scene, mind you. Remember that. But yeah, the last one they did was Elise's. Um, but this one right here is Rafina's. So yeah, so you just got to be patient with them guys. Okay, they'll add the other 5 star ones because I'm actually still excited to see what Celia's the cursed witch is costume is gonna look like. That's Celia when she's in Brave 9, the first one of the very first 5 stars actually in the game that was released. So I'm still waiting for hers. But let's see here. Gonna go straight now into the quality of life updates. So I have this time stamped. They just talk a little bit about what basically I just said. So let's hop into the quality of life. And I know, right? New and improved systems. Gonna look at this and kind of go through it.
Next,
step by step. Okay.
we have system additions and improvements. That's right, the September update will roll out in 2 parts, September 11 and September 25th. Regardless of the order, let's go through the big ones first. So first, after more than 1 year in trial seasons, Guild Raid is finally going live as a full season. And with the official launch, a few improvements are coming as well. Number 1, Guild Raid will now support practice battles. From the start of the season to the very end, you can try out both invasion defense and boss defense in practice mode. Plus, you can even set Lancelot's level however you like and test him out in practice battles.
It's actually really cool. So it's the same system for like if you were to go against a Fiend Hunter boss, they have like the practice trial where you can practice before they officially start the countdown to how many levels you can pass by the end of it. So this is actually a nice feature. Gives us a chance to also experiment, and we don't feel as pressured. You know what I mean? Because in guild boss raids, you only get, I think, 3 to 4 days to do this, and then it ends. Well, not 3 to 4 days. I'm sorry. You have 3 to 4 days to prepare with these stages here. So 3 days. Sorry. So you get 3 days to build up Lancelot's level by picking I don't know, whatever level there is, depending on strength wise. Like level 5 is the strongest, but however, if you beat level 5, you unlock more for Lancelot's abilities and his turns, right? So you have 3 days to do that, and then the 4th day, that's when the guild boss itself is unlocked. So that's when all those Lancelot update or upgrades come in handy, which is why, doing guild raid, in my opinion, is very important. It's also very fun, too, especially if your guild is very active. You can get very, very far in it, too, as well. So yeah, they're adding this new feature now, much like the Fiend Hunter boss. So you can practice however you want. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this, in fact. And also, this is a really cool boss here I'm seeing. I love it.
Of course, just keep in mind rewards and scores only count in official battles. Next, our third new monster is joining. It's got a steampunk vibe, and its name is Doomsday Machina.
Doomsday?
As tough as it looks, it has extremely high defense, but it's weak against magic attacks. We're also adding an overkill system to make guild rankings more competitive. If 2 guilds tie on score, the overkill system will decide the winner. Before, once the boss's HP hits 0, the battle ended instantly. Now, even if the boss drops to 0, the fight continues until all characters finish their turn. Any extra damage dealt during that time will be counted as an overkill damage. This only applies in level 10 boss battles. And here's how it works. We take the top 3 players in each guild with the highest boss damage scores, add up their overkill damage, and the guild with the higher total earns the higher ranking. And we are also adding new guild emotes. The next guild raid will start on September 25th with a 6-week gap to prepare for the official season. That means that there will be a 2-week period without any guild raids. As compensation for that, all guild members will receive 50% of the top guild reward. That's 9,400 Mercenary Union certificates and 1,500 diamonds.
Oh, wow.
Let's go!
Oh.
턱 발표를 해주시는 거예요. 네.
Wow, that's a big reward. That's a big update.
But she'd be so calm.
Oh my gosh, we have a Wilhelmina and Zenith emote right here. I just saw those two. Oh, we got Eclipse. We got Raphethia, Loen. Oh, we got Morphia. That's Morphea's bunny one. Dalvi, Eustia, Nebris, and another Rue. Very, very nice.
따로 장표도 없고 그냥
So no slide, just verbal
길드에
update.
가입해 있는 모든 분들께
50% of the all guild members will receive 50% of the top guild reward.
다 받을
9,400 mercenary union certificates and 1,500 diamonds. That's amazing. Everyone, please sign up on guild.
개발 사정으로 미룬 거라서
Yeah, so this was actually in our plan, but due to our dev schedule, we kind of delayed it.
계산이고요.
All right, moving on. Next up is the home menu improvements.
아, 이게 제
Wow,
옆에
homemade
모니터가
is
있어요.
also massive.
확 가슴이 빡.
You can
Well,
see.
we have a big monitor here, and then she just showed up, and then you know.
I know, right? I was about to say something, but I'll say it now. Like, give me more, Mommy Kyla, right? Let's zoom that in by 200%. So they're going to be doing now home menu where you can actually now zoom in. So yeah, I know a lot of players are going to have fun with this one, especially if you've unlocked a lot of the, let's say, summer ones as well. So and I'll be also showcasing this as well when I do a video on it for their new update. You know how I always do, right? With their updates, I always love to showcase everything. Very, very beautiful shot of my girl Mikayla here. Still waiting for her, her wedding one now, her wedding costume. You know what I mean? But yeah, love it a lot. This is basically what they're just talking about, the zoom in function. And also they're talking about now where you can actually, I'm just going to fast forward through a lot of this, but I promise I'll be making a video, like I said, in their next update, obviously, and I'll showcase everything for you guys, okay? But here we go. So this one is, so if you don't use, let's just say if you don't want to use a cutscene for one of them, you can always now, I mean, you always could do this. You can have like their standing, position, right? But now you can add background to it. So it's not like an ordinary background. You can actually change it. So basically with my girl Eclipse here, looking very spicy and sexy on the beach, right? You can actually now switch her background. So if you want her with the Onsen background, you can do that, and anything the cyberpunk theme over here you see here, right? So yeah, lots of backgrounds to choose from. So if you want to do something a little bit differently other than the skill cutscene, now you can. Okay, that's what's going to be going down in the next update here. So very, very, very excited to see this. And then we have this one right here. And by the way, you see the updates here. They're telling you the dates. So this is going to be on, this is actually when, because Guild Raid was actually pushed back to September 25th, because it was actually supposed to be currently going on right now, but they pushed it. So I see why they did it now. It's because of this update they did. And then, let's see. Trying to see what the updates for the zoom in. So this is also going to be on the 25th. So you got to wait until September 25th. Okay, guys? Just be patient. Just be patient. Just be patient. It'll happen. And then this is also happening September 25th as well. So very, very excited to be doing these customizations even further, right? Even further. First, it was like the IDs that we can customize now. Now we can customize the wallpaper even further. Beautiful job with the quality of life. I'm telling you, man. They know how to do quality of life. I'm telling you right now. So you also see more examples, right? So very, very well done. My goodness. I'm so impressed. Like, for real, impressed by how well they do quality of life. September 11th, guys. So this is one that's going to be in 3 days. So I'll just let them talk about this, because this is basically, I did all this now, mind you, by how it normally is currently, but they're going to talk a little bit more about it.
Skill updates. We have improved the talent skill slot UIs. You can see the EXPs and also the rank up status right away. And if you're ready to rank up, there's a big promote button. One tap and it's done. We also have a third quick slot tab. You can.
Okay, so they also added a third one instead of 2. Now it's going to be 3. So basically what this is there were only like two sec. So basically, when I hit the tab button on my keyboard, I would have like 5 skills I pinned, right? If I'm reading this correctly, that is, because I'm seeing 3 now. Wait, hold up.
Drag left, right, way, and if you're ready to rank up, there's a big promote button, one tap, and it's done. We also have a third quick slot tab. You can drag left, right to reorder the skills from the talent skill page. So it's going to be super easy to reshuffle. There's also going to be an undo button added. And some of the talent skill features have been improved as well. Now you can delete Gloom Gluttony without a dash when you're using the overpower skill. Oh wow. So there has been a lot of improvements. Yeah.
Very, very nice.
So we fixed the actual skill ranges and effect mismatch issues, and you can also see what you hit. Stealth won't bump into field monsters or Gloom Gluttony anymore, so there's not going to be any awkward collisions from now. But you'd be so
Run for it.
using the
Sorry, I wanted to.
next.
Okay, so what I believe now, correct me if I'm wrong too, in case I'm wrong about this, but from what I got out of it was, so like I was saying before, so whenever you hit the tab button on your keyboard, I don't know what it's like on mobile, but you were able to have 2 separate sections where you could add like 5 different skills to each. So it was like basically I would hit tab, it would go to one section where I would say I would have like, let's say Eustia, Sylvia, Shada, Eclipses, and Lathal skills on one, and then I hit tab, and then it would have another section where I would have like Gray's, Ruse, Allstein's, Teresa's, and Leatrice's skills on the other. So it was like basically a 5-5, but it was like a different page for like, not different page, but like, you know, it was different, like, well, I guess like a different page currently, I guess, to word it, I guess, better. But I think now they added a third one, so if I wanted to add, you know, more additional skills, I would choose like, let's say, off the top of my head, Layla's gear crafting skill, Helena's revival skill, Lysiana's revival skill, Zenith's search skill, and I don't know, another skill, Seer's stealth skills, for example. So it'll be like 3 different pages with 3 different types of skills. So that's what I believe this means. So like I think this is what this means at least. But if I am wrong about this, correct me in the comment section, because I don't want to give out false information, okay? But I believe this is what they were saying about it, at least.
Next up, we have talent skill updates. We have improved using the overpower skill. Oh wow. So there has been a lot of improvements. Yeah. So we fixed the actual skill ranges and effect mismatch issues, and you can also see what you hit. Stealth won't bump into field monsters or Gloom Gluttony anymore. So
Okay, so stealth won't bump into the black glutonies, which is basically they just kamikaze whenever they saw you on the field. So they would like float right to you and they would just explode. That's basically what these were. So from what they said is, so for example, Seer is a stealth skill. So obviously you cloak, you are transparent on the field, so they'll no longer like basically explode even if you run into them. You'll just basically go through them. I'm assuming that's what they mean, because they did say you're not going to get hurt anymore. So that's actually a really nice thing, right? If you're trying to, like, I don't know, do endgame building here with their skills.
there is not going to be any awkward collisions from now. And there's also going to be some improvements for the talent skills, like Surge, Danger Detection, Absorption, and Assemble. So while you're running, you can instantly skip the cutscenes. The new option has been added so your field character doesn't swap when using a talent skill. And if that character is set as a field character, talent cutscenes won't play at all. And next is about the battle UI for Fiend Hunter and Guild Raid. Next is field character, talent cutscenes won't play at all. Left, right to play at all. Absorption and Assemble. So while you're running, you can instantly skip the cutscenes. The new option.
Okay, I was trying to understand what they said about this a second time, because like I said, I watched this the first time around. Okay, so I think I understand what they meant by this. So you'll be able to turn this on and off. It says in the upper left-hand corner, right? So let's just say if I was running with like well, if I was dashing with, let's say, Rubia's skill, because her skill is dashing, right? And I was in the middle of dashing, but I also wanted to at the same time activate, let's say, Rue's stealth ability, correct? Well, it wouldn't stop in the middle of the dash and then like play that little animation that they usually do, right? It would just simply just activate it, and you wouldn't see that little skill, that little skill animation happen. That's what they're saying here. I had to like rehear this, by the way. But yeah, so another example is with Zenith. Like Zenith is the new one that is the search one, the one that's that's actually the same as Lathel's. So let's say if I was running with who has the speed one, um, Luvencia. Luvencia is the new one that has speed, right? So if I was using Luvencia and I wanted to use Zenith skill, which is finding all the items on the screen, including like hidden items, it wouldn't stop Luvencia from driving around the map on her motorcycle. It would just go straight into boom. You just see it on the map, right? You don't see Zenith like do her little skill animation either. So those are two examples, and that's what they changed with this. However, if you still like to see it, and like I said, you'll still be able to turn it on and off though. So most likely that'll be in the settings option or somewhere on this menu. Okay?
Has been added so your field character doesn't swap when using a talent skill. And if that character is set as a field character, talent cutscenes won't play at all. And next is about the battle UI for Fiend Hunter and Guild Raid. It's getting a major glow up. Now, if you're new to these battles, the biggest thing you gotta get is the boss's conditional skills. We're still using the old UI, so it was hard for our new players to see what skills the boss was about to pull.
Okay, this is actually a really nice feature too. More so for the Fiend Hunter bosses. So the thing is, and this is also included myself with this. I actually sometimes got very confused because I would be so like in depth with thinking of strategy and stuff with this that I would normally miss the conditional skill being a thing. So what they're basically gonna have is, you see, this is the current Baywatcher boss, right? So this is gonna be the conditional skill. So in case any new players don't know what that is, it's basically you activate it under certain conditions. Like let's say for this one, for example, was if you had a character apply a weakened sort of like skill to it, right? So that would mean decreased defense, lower attack, right? Something like that. Then the condition would activate, right? The condition would activate, and then you would able to deal more damage during the duration on how long it says turn wise on this conditional skill. Does that make sense? So I forget how many what the number of turns it was for this skill in particular, but that's basically what conditional skills are, and you're gonna see them for every single Fiend Hunter boss, by the way. So yeah, it'll be on the left-handed side now, so it'll be distinguishable. Some of them actually do have more than one, because there are Fiend Hunter bosses that do have like at least two conditional skills that are like separate, and then some that just straight up have one. Like this, for example, only had one, but it activated twice. But yeah, and then on the right-handed side, it'll have its like regular attacks, and it'll tell you what's up next. So yeah, this is actually a great feature, especially if you're somebody that's into passing level 10 and beyond. So this is actually a good feature to have. You know.
So now we're separating the UI for random skills and conditional skills. There is like a huge
Okay, I skipped it because that's basically what they were saying. Okay.
overdrive state. Now you can see that whenever there is like a huge event like this, we know that the banners get so long you have to scroll forever.
Okay, so this was another a new UI fix that they did here. Honestly, I didn't really get confused about it myself because it's not as many like banner, at least in my opinion, it wasn't. But I still think it's a nice update nonetheless, for in case anybody was not seeing a lot of these banners as soon as possible when they debut. So basically, they're using Sylvia here. I love her a ton, by the way. My God. Her skill interaction scene is top tier. But sorry, I got a little lost with it. But yeah, but yeah, so they're gonna have basically the banner or the exclusive costume debut pickup, whatever you want to call it, right? So they're gonna have it basically in a just its own thing here. As you see, it's gonna be just her, gonna be very easy to find, and then they'll have everything else pertaining to most likely reruns of banner pulling, and then the gear that you see for banner pulling, like exclusive gear, right? It'll be on another menu entirely. So I think this is a nice thing, but like I said, I didn't find a huge issue with, searching, but it is still nonetheless a nice sort of shortcut thing that, you can find them easily now when looking at the banners and who you're pulling for. Okay? That's basically what they're saying with that one. And they also talk about, let's see.
The screen before. Yeah, this is pretty much it. So yeah, we're going to be splitting for costume and equipment. And we also gave you a heads up about this on the last stream. The vitality cap for feeding your deployed characters or all your characters used to max out at 90%, but now we're raising it up to full 100%.
Okay, so this is a nice thing too as well. I actually noticed this with Terese. So my Terese has around like 2,600 health. Not 2,600, sorry. 26,000 health, right? And the thing is, when I went to go and what's it called? When I went to go and recover HP, and I went to the inn, right? Because I thought it was just gonna be quicker to do it that way. Her HP only recovered a certain amount of percentage, right? So now instead, it's just gonna be fully recovered, so you don't have to worry about this now, okay? Or be confused and be like, why didn't it recover all the way? Well, now you don't have to worry about it. That's basically more or less what they're saying here.
Are at 100% health. We're also going to be improving the recommend formation feature. The default sorting for recommend formation will now be by lowest combat power, and we're removing the cooldown on changing the combat power sort. In the last night, we're adding number of costumes you don't have, so it's easier to see which formations you can actually copy.
And here's another nice update. So this is another UI that they did here. So whenever you went into the map, the overworld map here, or whenever you went to the overworld map, it would tell you which, especially with the crystals here, it would tell you which ones are here. For example, it would tell you which ones were like light, dark, water, wind, and was it fire, right? It would tell you here. However, they never told you how many you had of each one until you like clicked on basically this, the icon of the crystal itself. Then it would say like how much you had in your inventory. Now they're not going to like make you search now, like, and just do that basically, because that's how I had to do it. Because I was like, which one? How many do I have of what? I actually was like that. Damn, they be rocking 88,000 wind. I'm sorry, I just like saw that, but so now they're gonna have it at the side. So this is actually a nice UI, improvement with this one. I love it a ton because now I'll know how many I have without having to always click on the icon. It may not be a big deal to you guys seeing this being a thing, but sometimes, people forget and they don't do this and they wonder how many they have, or, like I said, I know it might not be a big deal to other people, but I still think this is a really nice feature just because it displays it on the right-hand side. So that's still a really nice thing to do nonetheless. I love it a lot. Okay? So, yeah.
I'll check yourselves. Also see what kind of items or materials you own. Next is about the UR guaranteed draw for equipment. This will be also improved. Getting a UR equipment for a 3-star or 5-star units will no longer reset count for UR guaranteed draw. And when it reaches 100, you will receive only a 5-star UR equipment. I think that I've mentioned this during the previous stream. Based on the number of equipment draws before the update, we will grant one 3 to 5-star UR equipment draw ticket per 100 pulls.
Very, very nice.
This during the previous you will receive only a 5-star UR equipment. To draw for equipment, this will be also improved. Yeah, getting a UR equipment for a 3-star or 5-star units will no longer reset count for UR guaranteed draw. And when it reaches 100, you will receive only a 5-star UR equipment. And I think that I've mentioned this during the previous stream. Based on the number of equipment draws before the update, we will grant one 3 to 5-star UR equipment draw ticket per 100 pulls.
So that's a really nice feature. I love that. So the thing with this was whenever, now this is actually very different with the costume pulling or the character pulling, right? It was very different. So the thing with this was, and why I always found pulling for gear to be a lot more tougher than actually drawing for the characters themselves, was because with this, instead of it going like, you know, it climbing still to 100, it would always reset itself. And whenever you pull, like, let's say a 3-star character's exclusive gear or a 4-star characters or costumes exclusive gear, it would always reset this number. And that was very irritating just because, you know, you can literally get those very frequently to the point where it becomes more or less like a regular type of gear that you would just draw in general, right? So now they're gonna not reset the actual count here, and that's really nice. Okay, that's actually really nice. You know, a lot of people were like really fed up with it, and I could understand why, because, you know, to have it reset when you pull for something like a 3-star character's exclusive gear who you're not even going to use was like, damn, you know, was a huge kick in the nuts. So this is actually improved upon. And also the fact of what he just said too, with it, when you get to 100, right, you'll get a 5-star gear. I'm not sure if it's like the exclusive in itself, much like how if you pull for a character banner, you had to collect, I think it was around what, 200 pulls or something like that, and then you were like guaranteed to just click on the icon next to it, and then you would just unlock them that way, right? I'm not sure if that's going to apply for this because I didn't really hear them say that. But if it is where you do, like, let's say if you drew for 100 times and you can get the exclusive gear, then if you don't get it in those amount of times, you know what I mean, in those amount of times pulling, then that's actually really nice too, because that's a guarantee exclusive weapon draw for you, right? But I'm not sure because they didn't exactly say that. They just said that it was going to be a 5-star guaranteed gear. So
All right, now that wraps up the update introductions.
okay, so as we see here, as of right now, lots of quality of life improvements even made further. Big W for us, right? Along with obviously the new 5 stars that we are going to be getting. Obviously Darian, I mean, I always call her Darian. Darian and Tyr are obviously the ones that everyone's looking forward to, but also Sonya, because the thing is, Sonya being able to debuff, which I have a strong feeling she's gonna be. Well, I don't know. What did they say she was gonna? I'm not sure if it was mentioned. Well, yeah, it was mentioned. I'm not sure if it was again. Let me see what her was. So 41:53. I have a timestamp, by the way. My notes here. But hers was, I believe, in AoE type. Let me see.
Go playable. She has a fragile look but split personality, and I think it needed a design that sells both without feeling off. And so we have to think about 2 different personalities. She really turned out gorgeous.
So
Feel the dopamine hit.
아이들 모션은 이제 처음 아마 보시는
I think this motion is new to everyone.
I'm not sure. Did they say it?
Guys, here a lot of fans who love
어둠 속성의 마법 디버퍼로
Shadow Dream Sonya will join as a new character. Sonya is a dark element magic debuffer. Her skills are unique. They trigger in 2 different forms.
Yeah, she really turned out gorgeous.
Okay, so they didn't actually say the range on hers like they did with Darian's and Tears though. But yeah, so let's see here though. Let's fast forward. So this was, I would say, the main highlight of what happens. Then this is what tied into the situation that we saw back then. In case nobody knows what happened, and I'll just briefly summarize it for you. There was a survey that was released during their last update, and it was asking questions like basically retconning the main story and also turning Lathel and Gray into female main cast instead of having them as males, because a lot of people, like, not a lot of people, it was like a very certain, it was a certain group of people that decided they wanted to do was they wanted to basically have the story written in their eyes differently, more so than how the story was originally, seen as and was released as. They wanted to basically have been an all-female world with all-female character cast, no males in it whatsoever. Yeah, it was one of those situations, and that's basically what now this survey. They're gonna go back to those questions, and I did a video on this, by the way. If you want to check out what I mean by this, you're more than welcome to. But this is what's gonna cover it now. You guys, if you didn't hear my input on it in my video that I did about this, then you know that, like, I actually am, after hearing what they said, I am both relieved, but at the same time also concerned about some other things that were now newly mentioned with it. So I'm not going to, I'm just going to summarize basically everything they say here. So we're just going to go through it, right? Because it was also in the live stream chat on YouTube. A lot of people were wondering about this, and were very, very, let's just say they were ready to throw hands if anything, if anything else really changed. Okay, so if we go here, right, this is basically talking about the quality life updates that we have had, over over time this year, and obviously they have done a lot of quality life updates, correct? So more, and this is also going to be in their dev notes, by the way, because I do have it up, by the way. I do have it up. But yeah, so we're just going to take a quick look around here. Character growth improvements, level up all at once was, like, for example, for this survey, was the biggest one. But the thing is, a lot of these actually were very, very, we're high up, pretty much, in all honesty. I mean, it was nice to have these, you know? Let's see. We're going to fast forward a little bit here, because I don't want to skip too much of it. Okay, so here we have the story, guys. Okay, so first off, did you enjoy the story for Story Pack 18 Salvation? A lot of people, majority-wise, you see clearly they enjoyed it. They loved it, right? And then the other half here, did you enjoy the story for the Going Home season event? Now, this was the one with Olivia. Also, Olivia was and Hans as well in the story were what set off this entire chain of events back then. Okay, in the summer here. But, everyone loved this story. It was actually very popular, majority-wise. It was very, very popular. I loved the story a ton, too. It gave us a lot of background on Olivia, which is Eustia's mother, right? And also the father, which we, were actually curious about and who it was. And I gotta say, the father of Eustia's was very goated. And in all honesty, I would have loved him to have been a playable character in some way or form. You know what I mean? Just like Olivia, that would have been epic to see, because he was in the main story. He was actually a supporter type, so that actually would have played very well, if he were to have been released. He was actually a supporter type in the main story, but he was still very, very strong, right? So we go into this. They talk about it, right, and then we're gonna get into the other questions that were posed. Okay, so this is it right here. So, if the romance between male and female characters were changed, which direction would you prefer? Now, this was one of the survey questions, okay? Now, it does honestly pay me to see that 21% there. However, I am still very relieved that the 37.5% there actually stuck with it. And then obviously you had the ones that were 23.1%, had no preference, because most likely they were the newer players. They didn't know too much about the story, so understandable. It is understandable. So then you had like 6.2%. Oh my god, not 60, right? But 6.2% change all current romance to just friendship or camaraderie. 12.2% had keep the current romance but don't add any more in the future. And then you had obviously that 21% of people say change all main characters like Lathel and Gray to female. I know. Ridiculous, right? But hey, I'll always say this. People have their opinions about things, but this more or less started which wasn't a very healthy, opinionated, thing. Okay? This did not start out like it. So this is why it's like, So seeing, like I said, seeing this 21%, it actually, it is painful to see because, obviously they just want the game to just be straight up, Gooner material in general with nothing in depth with story or anything like that. They just want to basically have, you know, just a game with just pure Gooner content, right? Guys, I know I do a lot of videos and stuff based off of fan service, etchy, right? I do. I covered a lot with Brown Disc too. I'm not gonna say that I don't like seeing it because obviously, if you see my videos, if you see me stream, I love that type of content, right? However, I do know that there is a line to be drawn. I do know that if there is a concept which where the devs see things as in their own way, I respect that. I do. And it doesn't mean that you won't see this type of content anymore. It's just that there's other things to focus on more so than just, the fan service and the etchy scenes that we get. Does that make sense? But that's just me personally saying that, but that's how I really feel about it. And so I am happy that to see the 37.5% say, keep the romance between the male and female characters in the game because obviously this in hindsight, the main story is actually more catered to serious moments, serious situations, has a lot more darker content in it, despite what you might see with how they have fun with like the skill cutscenes and everything else, mini games, character packs even. So that's what I mean by that. And it's a nice balance to have both, fun and then having the more serious storytelling in it. It's actually, this game does it well, I feel, and it has a lot of potential still to work on that. Um, and also the thing with, the characters not being as engaging with retconning the entire main storyline, which, we're going to see now right here, right? Was, actually, I'll talk about that right after this because let's just hear what the devs have to say too about it because I want you guys to hear what they have to say too.
This time we asked about male and female characters and the romance elements in the game. So it's one of the hottest topics players have been talking about across all regions. So Junie, please take away.
All right, there's a lot of things that I would like to talk about. I'm going to be quite slow, I know. Yeah, I think that Junie really needs a lot of water. Alright, so we ran a survey recently because we've been seeing a lot of strong opinions about male characters, mostly negative, and we wanted to see what was up. So I think that because there were many different opinions, there were a lot of survey results that were divided. Long story short, 36% of you were cool with the romance that includes male and female characters, and another 22% were neutral. On the other hand, 6% wanted romance removed, and 12% didn't want any to be added. We also found out that 20% of you wanted to replace all the male characters with female ones. That's a pretty wild change, and we saw a lot of pushback on it after the survey. We actually wanted to see where or what you have thought, and I think that there are going to be a lot of changes. So we have seen a lot of pushback or negative feedback from the users in the survey, and we are definitely going to be very serious about this. But as we have expected, while 20% is more than we have actually expected in the first place, we don't think it's enough to ignore all the players who love the characters and the story we already have, so we're going to be sticking with our current direction. We will drop more details on our plans in a bit.
Yes, a very sensitive topic and an important topic, so Junie wanted to go into a full detail for you. So next one is regarding the appearance of or inclusion of male characters in the story.
Yeah. So yeah, we also ran a survey.
So obviously this was the other question that was asked too on the survey. What are your thoughts on including male characters in the story? Obviously the huge majority wise said I'm fine with male characters appearing. So you see this, guys, this is the thing with this game. This is just proves to you right here. This proves to you that a lot of us love the fan service etchy aspect, right? We love of the interaction scenes. We love seeing the skill cut scenes. We love seeing, scantily clad women, right? That's that's awesome to have, right? That's awesome, okay? However, a lot of the majority of us still feel that getting rid of male characters in the storyline itself or just in the game in general is actually ridiculous, okay? It is. And I totally agree with that. And it actually made me very happy to see that over half of the community feels that, there should still be male characters appearing. Okay? Guys, and any new players that don't know much about the situation and only think that this game is just, you know, female based, it's actually not. There's another game called Brave 9 that actually happens after the events of Brown Dust 2, because Brown Dust 2 is the prequel basically to Brave 9, right? So what I was also stating to my other previous video was that, if they went ahead and they actually went through with this, idea, of removing every single male character in the game and then retconning everything, right? Just rewriting every single thing in the story, it would not only take more time to do, but you would not be seeing updates happen as fast in the game yourself. So, meaning a lot of it would be pushed back. You wouldn't be seeing as many, high quality type scenes being played out. So, like interaction scenes, skill cut scenes, design, right? Because they would be legit rushing to the point where you won't see that type of high quality content. And you know what I mean? That's where it would have to have happened. This would basically be then at that point a totally just different game in general. Plus, it would also destroy anybody that's ever played Brave 9. I'm assuming because, like, this does have some element played into it, right? I'm going to assume this because of the, there are characters from Brown S 2 that are in Brave 9. So, that's what I mean. I would still see that as it, being a bad thing because it wouldn't make any sense. Because, like, think about it. You know, even though, like, if they were to change this be an all-female game, right, in Brown S 2, then, like, where would that leave Brave 9 then? Would it be like, all males were just completely wiped out in Brown S 2's world, right? And then all of a sudden they would go to Brave 9 and be like, oh my gosh, there's males in it. So what happened? You know what I'm trying to say? So I was thinking about this because I'm like, that would not make any sense. Unless Brown does too, and that, I guess, in that idea, right, would be like a parallel world of some sort, and then they would have to tie it into like Brave 9. I don't know. That would be too complicated to even think about, right? So yeah, that's another big thing about that. So too complicated, not to mention, I personally think it's ridiculous that, that even being a thing happening. So yeah, I'm very happy to see that over 50% of us here, you know, do love ecchi. We love our fan service, right? We're never gonna stop loving it, but we also appreciate, there being still variety and still story in the game because this game isn't bad with storytelling. There's things that need to be fleshed out, right? But it's not like it doesn't have potential at all. That's what I'm saying. There's still a lot with the story that I am excited to see, along with the development of future characters and maybe even maybe they are gonna flesh out some of the older characters. Um, and this is just my opinion about it. This is just something I thought about, and what I said was, you know, what they could do is, for example, with Gray, what they could do with Gray even is they could have like a seasonal event story for him, right? And there could be a story based on like his past, ever since, he left his his home, he abandoned his duties as one of the crown princes, right? And what led him into like the mercenary life, you know what I mean? Meaning what's her name? I think her name was Bernie, I believe. But yeah, I mean, that's what I mean by that. It's like there's so much that they could still do, but just do it in like a seasonal event story. And I guarantee you that a lot of these characters that you know people don't really feel that they're as drawn to or as they can relate to could honestly be fleshed out to where they could be then those types of characters, right? It would be an easy fix. I mean, they did it with Blade, they did it with Liberta, right? With their backstories, I thought they were amazing, incredible. And then when I played as them, I felt, I was like, damn, I know more about them now, right? So yeah, I mean that's what I mean. And oh yeah, same thing with Sonya, Rue, and Darien now that are going to be coming up here right now. You know, Darien and Sonya especially because they're going to be new ones. We know their backstories, right? We have some sort of lore behind them. You know what I mean? So that's all they would have to do. I didn't see this as being as big of a problem as a lot of other people saw it as, personally. Okay, but yeah, that's my take on it. But yeah, so these are the surveys. This is what this was talking about, right? Um, Oh yeah, and the one thing they also said too was one of the devs here said, "Oh yeah, it was him. He actually did say this. I don't know what timestamp it was. I should have put it down, but I believe he actually says it here. In fact, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. I'm gonna let them talk now.
story as much as possible, and we'll do so
다음
moving
설명,
forward.
다음 설문.
Alright, then let's dive into the next question.
네. 다음은
The next
인형손님
question
등장에
is
대한
about
설문인데요.
fated
네,
guests.
설명 부탁드리겠습니다.
Junie, please take away.
Okay.
제가 과거 방송에서
I think I've mentioned this before during our previous streams that we were hesitant to give main story or romance focused characters a Bond story since some of you found it uncomfortable and uneasy about the fated guest. But after the Olivia update, a lot of you guys wanted a Bond story for him, so this made us think about our entire plan. So we ran a survey to see how you all actually felt, and the results were wild. Over 90% of you were down for it. That's a huge change, and it gives us way more freedom to be flexible with this going forward.
So you heard what he said now, right? Okay, so I'm actually personal wise, I'm actually disappointed with this. Reason being is because, you know, this is actually what caused this entire situation in the first place to happen with what, went down, with these survey questions, okay? This is the entire reason as to what happened was with Olivia and Hans being a thing. Players, like the small majority of players, like I was saying, when I did my video on it, was apparently saying that this was NTR stuff. I know they were bringing all this BS into the mix with a lot of it, and they were saying that they could never have Olivia as a fated guest was because she was already married, right? She already had a child with Hans. They had Eustia, right? And so she could never be a potential. But see, this is the thing that was disappointing was because, like I said, my personal opinion is because they think it would be fine. 74.558% thought it would be fine. But see, the thing is with this is why I say this is because Olivia died, right? She's dead. And I'm not sure if this is going to be something of a future spoiler behind this or not. But like, is this suggesting that they're now going to either have Olivia be brought back into the main story, right? Because this is pertaining to the main story. Obviously it even highlights it here. It says it main story pack, right? Characters or costumes appear as fated guests. How do we feel about it? And it just wouldn't make any sense. It just wouldn't. And like I said, I'm not sure if this would spoil anything, but does this mean that Olivia is going to be brought back into the main story then at some point? Do they have that in the works planned? Am I thinking too much on it? That's what I mean. It's just becomes a little bit more complicated with that, because back in 1.5's anniversary that they had in December, they discussed and talked about even saying, okay, they even said the words that it was not going to have anything to do with the main story. It was just going to be based off of the, parallel universe concept of characters, right? They literally could have just have had Olivia appear in a new character pack story, right? And I was saying, like, for example, I said, like Contract Wars. They could have like another Contract Wars parallel universe story following up where they would have like Olivia as like I don't know, a megacore CEO of some sort. I don't know. And like Mikaela, Nebris, Seer, and Levencia would go up against her, right? But the thing is, they could have that Olivia in that world, for example. Now I'm just saying this is just an example, okay? But they could just have her be a separate costume, right? A separate, parallel world Olivia where we would have her as a fated guest. You know what I'm saying? So it would make a lot more sense to do it that way instead of confusing the hell out of everybody by having main story um characters as them be a fated guest. You know what I'm seeing? You know what I'm trying to say? Plus, this is gonna now stir up another thing, and I just have a feeling it's gonna happen where people are also gonna get pissed about this, especially if they drop Olivia in here, right? Or Shada, or Eustia, or even Eclipse, because Eclipse also had a slight, story of her love life with her master, right? It was slight, but it was there in Story Pack 6 if you read the dialogue, okay? So this is what I mean. I have a feeling it's not going to be a good thing. And this is why I said they should have just have stuck with the parallel universe characters instead of going down this route with the main story. I don't see a good thing happening with this. But we'll see about it. How do you feel about characters who have romance elements in the story appearing as fated guests? I think it would be fine. So, like I said, this is most likely going to cause another issue. Shada and Eustia, for example, right? I don't know. I honestly don't think this is going to end well. In fact, it might even kill the entire thing with the fated guest concept. You know, they really should have just have had this separately entirely. They really should have. It would have been less complicated. But we'll see what happens. We shall see what happens.
All right.
주관식으로 작성
Next is an
자유롭게
open-ended
적어주신
question
부분에
asking
대해서
for a message to Brown Dash 2.
말씀을 드리고 싶었습니다. 네. 일단 설문조사
So
결과를
based on the
바탕으로
survey
해서
results,
의견과 제안을
we've organized all the
써주신
feedback
횟수별로
and suggestions and sorted them by how often each one came up. So let's see.
So, opposed to removing male characters like Lathel and Gray and want them to have important roles in further developments in the story. Story related, hope the romance between the main characters in the original storyline are kept, and concerned that changes might undermine its appeal, which I totally agree with, right? Especially this one too, because that would be just plain out stupid. Okay, it would be stupid. Honestly, it would be.
Yes, now a lot of you gave us feedback on having male characters in the game. We really did get a lot of feedback. It's probably because of the questions that we've asked you, but I know that many of you were super clear on your answers. Said don't remove or change characters like Lethel or Gray. And you feel it would hurt the story's depth, and you wanted them to keep their important roles, I understand. We also got a lot of requests to keep the story arcs and character relationships as they are, especially the romantic ones. Fans are worried that changing the story would mess up the game's charm and what makes it feel incomplete. So, our fans really wanted nothing to change, especially for the romantic ones. And I think that you're very concerned that it's going to be hurting the game.
Yeah,
And mind you, this being said, right, and then the fated guest role thing, like that question, would it be okay with characters that have romance elements to be as a fated guest? And the majority of people said it would be fine. This just basically is like, at that point, you're like looking at this and you're like, well, you're basically going to change that concept now. It's basically going to turn out being like if Shada, for example, came into the fated guest role here from the main storyline, right? And everyone saw that happen. Believe me, there's a lot of players are going to be like, she's cheating on Gray. Even though it's not stated in the main story that, they're together, right? It's like everyone saw them getting together in the story, right? So, like I said, this question or this being said here, this literally, to a lot of, like, especially to me, it's like, well, then, why did people put down then they would be fine with the fated guest thing, like having them being fine with the main characters there being, having a fated guest role, that's what confuses me about this entirely. But, like I said, it's going to be very just overall complicated. Oh man, it's gonna get complicated with this.
It's not here and it's not in the script, but we also got feedback
너무 휘둘리지 마.
that the devs should not be too swayed and they should stick to what they want to pursue because then fans can support us. So that's one of the feedback that we got as well.
아까 말씀드린
So we're going to continue listening to all.
You see what he said there? I'm glad that that actually was something they read about because this is true. And look, guys, the way I see when it comes to like devs and the community, you know, it's always nice to yes listen to your community. I'm never gonna deny that. Okay. However, the one thing that I'll say is that I really feel that devs should honestly have a say also in their vision of how they go about doing something because after all, it is their project and it is their story after all, right? And it's nice, like I said, it's nice to have community, to listen to their community and to follow through with what they say, but I honestly still feel that in a lot of ways they should still be able to have their own voice and opinion over it as well, and then as the fans and as the community, we should see what they have there, what they have going for them, right? And yeah, we can cuz you can't make everybody happy, guys. That's the thing. That's the one truth of this world. You won't make everybody happy. Okay? So this in a lot of ways plays into that even more so because I mean, you can't. It's impossible to make everybody happy with what you want out of it. But you also have to respect too that they have ideas of their own, and if they go in a certain direction, we can respect that. We can respect it. And if we don't like something, yeah, we'll say something about it, but not attack them in a way that's gonna basically shoot down everything that they have as an idea, right? I mean, nobody likes that to happen. We like to have fun with this game. This is a fun game, right? And I believe that the devs should have their own say into this. That's all I'm trying to say with that. They should have it. You know what I mean? Especially with all the quality life updates we've had and, the spicy content alone as well, and also the stories that we get. I really feel that this is an incredible game. I really do. It's very free to play, and it's not a grindy game either. I honestly don't see it that way. You get so many materials, so yeah, that's what I just wanted to say too.
All of your feedback very carefully, and at the same time, we're going to stick to our core values
재미있게 즐기실 수 있게
and make sure that we deliver something that's very fun and enjoyable.
Okay.
근데 그것도 맞다. 그것도 맞다. 약간 이런 피드백들이 또 갑자기 감사합니다. 네.
Yes, and I see a lot of support from our comment section, so thank you for that, our fans. Alright, this one's about character design and art concepts. A lot of players said they're happy with the designs, especially the increase in sexy characters, but some also mentioned they don't want the game to rely too much on sexiness. Overall, the art style and character designs got high praise, especially the uniqueness and depth of each character. Now moving on, the next part is about collab, reruns, and new content. Many players said they'd like to see more in-game content along with reruns of past collaborations. And
Okay, so if we go back to the character design, I remember somebody made a comment in the live stream where they were saying who asked that question? They were attacking that one. Who said that, right? Who said that? How do I feel with this one? Character design was, I mean, Gami delivers. We all know hands down Gami. He delivers the content for us, man. His team too, as well. Incredible designs. Obviously, we have seen it with everything that's ever been released for this game, right? So, I still see the females in this game still having a very appealing sexual element to them. It matches with, the brownness to, story, well, not story, but the fun nature of it, I should say. That fun nature that we get out of it, right? I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't got to go into details about which body parts show or what, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So I still believe that they should have it, but I also, in a way, when it says love the unique and appealing designs, but hope the game doesn't just solely rely on the sexual nature of the story in itself, or the characters, skill cutscenes and stuff like that. Basically, um, I can agree with that. Maybe when it comes to the main storyline, I do agree with that. Um, because I think in a lot of ways at time. Now, I'm not saying like they should just straight out get rid of this, mind you. I'm not saying that, okay, guys. Believe me, I would never say that. You know, I love the sexual appeal that we get from the females in this game, right? It's nice to look at. You got the eye candy, okay? That's what gets us, our dopamine levels leveled up here, right? But I'm also saying too at the same time, it's nice to have some, background on the character, lore, build up, things like that, that also makes them just as appealing. You know what I mean? So finding a balance between that, I understand. I understand that. But don't get rid of obviously don't get rid of our, fan service and our etchy guy. You don't gotta do that in order to make a character loving and more appealing either, okay? You can still have it, you can still go strong with it, but also, it doesn't hurt to have also something else that's unique to them. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm saying, guys. Believe me, I would never say just straight up tone it down. In fact, I want them to tone it up. But yeah, I'm just saying, okay? There's a nice balance. Like I said, you gotta compromise with things here and there. But yeah, I would never say get rid of it, right? Hope for reruns of past collaborations and the addition of more diverse content. So basically, the reruns that they're talking about would be like, what was that called? Mushiko Tensei, which is based. That was actually their very first collaboration that they've ever had in this game. Then we had the Senran Kagura one, and then we had the Goblin Slayer one, right? So they only had 3 of them so far. Now, one of the devs does say something. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a leak of some sort, but I don't think it is. So I'm not gonna say a leak. I don't want to confuse anybody or start something, but they did say something along the lines of an IP here. But as for everything else that went into this, it was basically, how should I say, more or less what I was saying, summarizing just now. The crashes on some devices in here and there. I have seen this in their Discord channel. A lot of people reporting this as well. They're gonna fix it. That's basically what they said. They really can't do anything other much than that. They're gonna work on it though, and I do trust them on their end with that. I mean, I've had some, not long ago actually, it was the Tower of Salvation where I couldn't actually go to floor 10 was because for some reason on reset time I was just stuck on floor 9, but the thing is the UI was all kind of funky and then it would just like crash my game. But I could do anything else on it. It just I wasn't able to do Tower of Salvation until reset time, which fixed the issue for me, that which was what I was hoping for, and it did. Um Appreciate the developer's willingness to listen, but hope the core concept will be preserved as intended. So this plays back to the main story and what I discussed already. Okay. So other than that, guys, let's see. Everything else was basically Q&A next up, and that was like the entire rest of the video. So I'm not going to get into too much of it, but what I'll say and what I wrote down here on my little notes here was bunny girl costumes being mentioned more in the live stream chat. A lot of people in the live stream chat apparently, I believe it was in KR if I'm not mistaken, they were going over because they go in a lot of the Q&A with Taiwan, KR, and then global, right? They cover that's why it's so long, the rest of the video. But yeah, bunny girl costumes, a lot of players and people in the chat were wanting to see more of it. I don't blame them. I love the bunny girl costumes. I mean, obviously, Eclipse, Celia, Loan, Morphia, totally rocking it. Obviously, they have their interaction scenes for Morphia and Loan, and then the skill cutscenes for all of them is very, very spicy and hot. We love it, right? So I don't deny it. Honestly, I would love to see more of it too. Okay, so regarding the thing with Sylvia's VA here, so they did announce this before Sylvia was released that they didn't have any VA for her in the story this time around. So the only thing they said about that was they were trying to find a new VA for Sylvia so that they could have her for her interaction scenes and the story that went along with it. Plus, I believe they're going to be also because like Sylvia's in the main game still, right? Her, I think it was the Desert Thorn costume. I believe that's what it's called. Um, but basically, her in the main storyline. So they're gonna have a new Sylvia VA. They didn't really go into great specifics about it, but that's all they really said on it was they were looking for someone for her. So we're just gonna have to wait and see and be patient with that. And then I can guarantee you that they'll actually have then a the VA for Sylvia's interaction and her story. Okay. Now the thing that was said too, along with this, was the Brave Nine characters might appear now in the story or as future in-game characters. Now they mentioned this. I know way back they said something that they weren't going to have them in the game because they felt that if they put more Brave Nine characters, in Brown Dust 2, it would basically take away, I guess, the hype and the feel for like newer character designs and just new NPCs being, you know, playable in the future. That's why they didn't want to do so much of it. But now they discussed, I guess, apparently about it and saw that having more of Brave Nine's characters appear into Brown Dust 2 now is a good thing because they're getting now, more into the story. And like I said, Brown Dust 2 is like takes place before the events of Brave 9, okay? So, more than likely, we're going to see a lot of the, like I said, more females from Brave 9. If you go on Brave 9's, if you look them up, all the characters, there's a lot of them, by the way. A lot of them. I know Ventana, she was one of the Brave 9 characters. She has actually a really, really nice design in Brave 9 too, as well. So if she were to ever come into the main story for Brownness 2, that would be incredible. Like, she actually has a very sexy look to her. I'm not going to lie about that. It is really appealing. Um, I also noticed that Ebony was another one. Ebony, the one that was in the Splash Queen event, like the final boss he fought, and also in Mission Impossible as one of the bosses. She's actually a Brave Knight character. And I always thought she had a really, really appealing design too, as well. And I even said it too during the Splash Queen event when I was streaming it as well. That I would love for her to be a playable character down the line. So maybe we'll get her too. So yeah, they were discussing this. So, but it would have to actually make sense when they do it. They said it would have to make sense. They're not just gonna add them, you know, out of nowhere. They're gonna actually incorporate them as time goes on in the story, and then they'll find the right moment. Like if they're like an NPC at first, and then they'll slowly then think about adding them. Then basically how they did with Sonya and Darian. Okay, that's basically how they're gonna do it. So I am actually excited for that as well to see and how they do that. Okay. Um, One other thing too. So this actually was a concern with the prestige skins. So we're gonna skip ahead to, and I have timestamped this. It was right around here, I believe. Right? Yeah, it was right around here. It was about the prestige skins.
Enjoy of quality. But when it comes to the bottom line of the quality, we're going to make.
Okay, so basically what was being said was this. A lot of players found that the prestige skins that they pay, money for, so basically like Teresa's, for example, they said that, well, I'm saying like other players said this, by the way. That's why they're talking about this. They said it wasn't as basically as good as like the one with Sylvia, for example. In case you don't know what Sylvia's interaction scene was like, you know, then you don't know what I'm talking about. But that's basically what players were saying. They saw Teresa's as not being as either spicier than that or as well done because it was a paid one. So they expect when it comes to like paying for a prestige skin with that exclusive interaction scene, they would want a lot more out of it. Now, my take on this, guys, is okay, so when it comes to Brownness 2, I get that it's like an 18 plus game, right? And we all know it is now. But they can't go like to the point where it's borderline hentai. I don't know. I don't know if maybe, the dopamine levels on a lot of us are like so overpowered at this point that we want to see that type of content. But, they can't do too much to the, you know what I mean? Cuz it wouldn't be 18 plus anymore. It'd be like up there. You know what I'm trying to say? So I don't know. I remember someone in the comment section also saying that not comment but the live stream chat said, they've been seeing so many like basically incredible like interaction scenes and skill cut scenes that in a lot of ways they see the ones now like right now that we have, for example with Teresa's for example, and then they compared it to like the free one that you can just unlock Sylvia with you can unlock bikini made not made bikini Sylvia, bikini agent Sylvia, I'm sorry. And you can just get her interaction scene very easily by completing her story in like 3 days, right? And boom, you have the interaction scene. It's very spicy, by the way. Okay, I have showcased it on my streams, but yeah, so that's what I mean by that. And they see that as compared to Teresa's, which didn't really have any of that, right? Technically as spicy as hers, and they're like, well, we expected more out of these prestige skins, so to say, and they just expect more and more because we get so much of this content. Does that make sense? So the more that we get of this content, the higher the expectations of the player base becomes, where they want to see something even more, flauncy and more revealing. You know what I'm trying to say? But then again, I don't know how much more revealing they can get after Sylvia's or even Wilhelmina's, because Wilhelmina's was spicy too. So that's what I mean. I don't really know how much they could do it. They would have to add environments or something like environmental type situations then at that point. But yeah, and then also the thing with even Ustia is a lot of players most likely felt the same way about Ustia's, but with Teresa's, that's like a lot of people were really targeting that, I guess. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that in comparison with with how much you pay for that? And not sure if that had anything to even do with like what happened with Nikkei and Rouge's skin, right? Because that was an entire situation on its own. But if you ask a lot of the players, because I even saw it in comment sections of the like content creators that did and covered that Rouge debacle on in their comment section, a lot of players are saying the prestige skins that you get out of Brown S2 are way better and actually way more for like you get what you get out of your basically your wallet, and in a lot of cases it is true. I'm very impressed with the prestige skins alone, but question is, do you think that it can go a little further for like your bottom dollar, or do you think that it's fine the way it is? I don't know. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it in the comment section if you have any of them. But yeah, that's basically what they were saying with this. And he was saying here that, they're not going to stop delivering, like, their fan service element of it. Like, they're never going to stop that. But, they can't actually, you know what I mean? They can't show like tits or something like guys. Okay, they can't show that because obviously it's still, it's still not a hentai game, okay? I'm just saying, you know what I mean? That's basically what happened with this. There was people in the chat also saying they wanted more, and I was like, oh my gosh, please don't do what Nikkei did and spam, you know, costume gotchas. That would be like the worst thing to do. Like if they started doing that, for real, it actually would be. Because prestige skins are supposed to be just for every now and then, right? For special occasions like summer, winter are their two biggest selling points when it comes to things. Collaborations, depending on what it is, could also be, but like summer and winter are basically their like biggest, where they go all out with things. So like 2.5 is gonna have a prestige skin. They already announced this, and then the New Year's they're gonna have another one because it follows up with the 2.5. But after that, they're not gonna release one. And if they stay true to their word, which I know they'll do, because they're not gonna do what Nikkei did. I just have, it's a feeling I have, because that would be a really bad direction if they did. Now then again, with the entire Faded Guest thing, I am disappointed with that, but you know, I don't know. What do you guys think about this? We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's basically what was being said about it.
Sure that we meet a certain level of quality. We meet certain like a bar. There's a bar for quality, but sometimes it might go above and beyond your expectation. And in that case, please just enjoy. It could be an animation, origami, and the team come up with a lot of ideas and designs. And sometimes they get really greedy and add a lot that leads to higher rating and more content, and we don't have a ceiling to how much it should be done. So we have a bottom line, definitely a bar for minimum bar for quality, but we don't put ceiling on it. That's why sometimes the ceiling is really high when it comes to quality. But in our opinion, as long as it's constantly above the minimum bar, it's all good. For next prestige skins and fated guests, when let's say that when they come up in twice the content, the regular content, it might not mean that the next one can be like that. We will continue to protect the minimum quality bar, but sometimes we can go overboard in terms of our quality or content.
Yeah, I think it's because of the timing. We did release in the similar periods. I think that when a lot of our fans come back, there will be new fated guests, there will be more prestiges. But if there are more actions, and conversely, for fated guests, if the number of interactions are less than expected, then I guess that for those who haven't been able to purchase the Prestige, we'll say that you're not putting in too much effort for the quality of interactions. But I think that what Chuni said is right. It is the answer. So if you give us more encouragement, then our animators and the team will be more passionate about the prestiges and also the interactions. And it's not that it's intentional, because we're going to be going with the skin concepts. So maybe there could be some differences in the number of skins, but there's really no intention to lower down the quality.
Okay, so there you have it. There you have it. And he's right. He is actually right about it too. Like I said, there's gonna be some that we love, some that we love more so than the last one, that was released. It's like everybody has a personal preference as well. You got to understand that. And believe me, I would say that like 90% of what they release with content wise when it comes to interactions and how much they've improved upon it, right, since their first release with Nebris's, and is actually top tier. It is very top tier, in fact. And I don't see their quality going down anytime soon, in fact, like at all. They're still going to deliver us the content. Prestige skins are more so for like you don't have to have them, but I do know like a lot of us like collecting and stuff like that. I'm one of them. I'm not going to hide that, right? But I do see at times that, yeah, like sometimes, in comparison with Sylvia's and Teresa's, Sylvia's was actually the one that was the more spicy one, the one that, you would go back to more so than maybe Teresa's. Even though I did find Teresa's to be, more, how should I say, have more with environmental aspects with the with the milk especially, but then again, Sylvia had like the items that you can play with her around with, right? I mean, let's be honest, a lot of those items were what I feel, we needed to have more of, right? So like I said, it's personal preference at that point, but that's what it is. But anything else with this video or this updates? I don't think there is, but on September 11th, I'll cover everything that, well, I'll cover the new update, obviously, and everything, go through it again. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, nonetheless. And if you enjoyed the content, like, subscribe. It does help me out a bunch, but, like I said, I enjoy doing this. I enjoy being a content creator for Brownness 2. It is very, very fun. And I still see that there are things that, I am worried about with the Faded Guest thing, but we're just going to have to sit and wait what happens with that for their anniversary. So yeah, with that being said, guys, you all take care. Stay safe and healthy out there, and I'll catch you all in the next Brownness 2. And good luck on your pulls, guys, okay? Because we are having that 2.5 in December. And I'll also say this too before I go that remember that Tier, Darian, and Sonia, they are not limited. So you are going to be able to pull for them in like the Golden Thread shop when it resets each month, and also the Powder of Hope shop. Okay, keep those in mind. You'll still also be able to get them in Mirror War shop if they're like rotated in there, which they'll be now. I don't know about the selected draw tickets because I'm not sure if they're gonna have that be a thing from now on permanently. It could just be because it was the second anniversary slash summer event. But if anything, if they do have that again, it'll most likely be during their 2.5 anniversary. So we'll just have to see about that, okay, with the selected draws. But yeah, big W on the quality of life updates as well. Huge win for us. Again, you know. But yeah, with that being said, guys, good luck on your pulls. Good luck on your saves. I'll catch you all in the next. Take care, guys.